Hi everyone, it's Father J-Boy. Have you ever wondered whether you're still being heard by the young or that the generation gap has become too wide and reaching out to Gen Z-ers seem to be an impossible task, or that you are being dismissed and ignored even if you believe that you have something that you think will benefit them? Or simply, do you feel FOMO, the fear of missing out, feeling too old and irrelevant in the fast-changing world? If you feel that way, perhaps you're right. Sorry it's so blatant, but it's not too late to make meaningful connections with them. But first, we stand on the shoulders of giants. What's down the lane are culled from the McCann World Group Youth Survey of 2021 with references to their other youth studies. Carol Dweck, Ronell King, Pope Francis and Pope Benedict XVI, and finally, by my own personal experiences working at the senior high school of Ateneo de Davao University. But don't worry, I have simplified all this for you. That's why it's on video. Because I am not a fan of long speeches and highly cerebral conversations without action. Edutainment is my cup of tea. It means educating and entertaining all at once with a very short video. Our focus today is Gen Z, loosely born between 1995 to 2010. They are true digital natives. Being exposed to the internet is part of their blood. Social networks and also mobile systems. Thus, they are comfortable with collecting and cross-referencing many sources of information and with integrating virtual and offline experiences. Note the word influencer has been coined by them because they create and interpret current trends. How do we serve them? Or more appropriately, how do we accompany them? Here are 10 tips to remember. Let's go! Nurture and value creativity. The first thing that we know about the young is that they are at home with diversity. They are called the kaleidoscope kids, brought about by the internet. They live in a global world where virtual is also real. They are exposed to different cultures, religions, and gender, facilitated by access to really fast evolving cultures and a multitude of talents. Gen Zers go, glow, and grow on creativity. As digital natives, they continually thirst for anything very creative. 69% of Gen Z from the Asia-Pacific region, for example, is always looking for the next cool thing versus 60% globally. Worldwide, Thailand ranks the highest at 84%. Gen Zers expect us, therefore, to enable and fuel their creativity as they feel their way and try things, mixing genres, styles, and local references. 53% of young Filipinos, for example, feel that the primary benefit of social media is being exposed to new ideas, and 70% of Gen Z agree that the best way to come up with a creative idea is to bring together a group of people that look differently and think differently. Second, be open to a reshaping of culture. The elderly, institutions, perhaps you, and traditions were the gatekeepers of culture in the past, not anymore today. This generation selects which to retain and which to discard, curating and popularizing their very own interest, eventually shaping a culture on their own terms and to their own, yes, liking. On TikTok, Gen Z creates very viral videos, diba? That provides access to tribal and countryside cooking, for example. Many generations like mine never heard or seen before. In terms of values, Gen Z identifies innovation, creativity, and true authenticity above all else. 59% agree that people should be free to express themselves however they choose, more than being careful not to offend others. A quote from a teen says, "Being self-sufficient and unapologetically yourself is inspiring to me, and that's what I'm trying to emulate." Give importance to the values of openness, creativity, and authenticity if you really want to accompany them or if you are really sincere to serve them. Because there's a catch. Gen Z has proven that if an institution, a tradition, or a brand or company no longer feels fit for their purpose, they'll be more than happy to create their own alternative. In other words, if you insist on what you want and they don't agree with it, they'll create their own. Use social media platforms where they are. Be open to technology. In social media, raw videos on TikTok and Instagram Reels and Stories gain more attention than videos that have a clearly produced look and feel. TikTok is populated by Gen Z. Instagram is becoming a super app. Twitter a space for reason and rants, while the older generation are on Facebook. It's either you join the bandwagon or you become irrelevant to them.
Okay.
Provide meaningful connections. Gen Z are the most connected or network cohort compared to previous generations, but they are also the loneliest. Meaningful and satisfying relationships are harder to come by. In 2019, I profiled the senior high school vis-a-vis resilience using the developmental assets tool with 85% of the total population as respondents. The results were significant. 85% turned out to possess the necessary assets to sail through difficulties, while 15% have low resilience levels. And a large factor is the presence or absence of emotional support. You can imagine how the percentage of high-risk students increased at the onset of online education. The McCann World Group Youth Study proves that 16% of Gen Z globally acknowledge loneliness, the most significant compared to other generations. 76% of Gen Z globally believes that emotional connections are weaker today than in the past. This is significant, especially in the Philippines at 89%, the highest among the Asia-Pacific region. This emotional need can be gleaned from many Asian Gen Zers who said about brands and companies, "I want a brand that reassures me," versus another who challenges me. This increased globally from 62% in 2018, 74% in 2020, and then in Asia and Malaysia at its highest, 81% this year, 2021. Therefore, the "juwang-juwa na ako" expression has become popular. They seek an authentic relationship. They feel that they're ready, but there's none who would like to make that connection. Maintaining relationships become a challenge with those battling low self-worth and low EQ. Create a supportive and collaborative community. Gen Z welcomes doing things together or going things together than doing things alone. Experiencing isolation in the pandemic that surfaced these longings, social media has named the health crisis as a loneliness pandemic. Mental health, therefore, became the top worldwide concern for this generation. But it is also the concern that Gen Z finds most difficult to share with loved ones, for example, parents, grandparents, because they are usually dismissed. An African proverb has it that it takes a village to raise a child. Likewise, it takes a community that can improve one's overall well-being. A closer, much closer ties with the home is pertinent to educating the younger generation. Live between local and global tensions. This new generation sees themselves more as global citizens than belonging to their own tribe. 31% of Filipino Gen Z feel that they don't belong to any country or even culture. Help Gen Z make an impact. Many of our Gen Z-ers have more followers on social media than many of us. They know that they can move us through their collective influence. To them, that is their power. They believe in their abilities to address global problems such as climate change and inequality. Advocacies are really very important to them. Half of those surveyed globally believe that social media provides a platform to give a voice to the voiceless. But again, remember, not your advocacy but their advocacies. You will need a different approach to persuade them to join you. Moreover, it is significant for us to know that many Gen Zers think that companies or brands can create a greater change than the government. In the McCann World Group survey in 2018, 91% of young Filipinos believe that brands have more power to make change better than the government does, compared to 84% of young people around the world. In other words, they would like to make an impact with or without the government. Respond to their call to action. The highly networked connection which Gen Z has can create a difference from top down as well as from bottom up. Without politicizing, the Pink movement is fueled by citizen initiatives born out of social media engagement. Harnessing this empowerment, it is advisable to meet the young when they call for a collective effort to effect societal change and to bring about social justice. They have an existential desire to create change now, before it's too late, and to undo the mistakes of the past generations. An iconic reaction is Greta Thunberg's blah blah blah, dismissing world leaders at the COP26 climate summit. They are not impressed by cerebral talk. They want action, not in the near future, but now. Provide communities for them to choose and work with. 77% of Asian Gen Zers feel that they have a responsibility to positively contribute to their own communities. 90% of young Filipinos agree on this. They are even willing to be loyal and to pay more for brands that support an issue that they care about. The McCann World Group survey states that Korea, Indonesia, and China ranked the highest at 80, 84, and 87% respectively. A Gen Z who responded, and I quote, "We now realize our voices can really make a difference. It's not like I'm sitting in a small town in some country that I'm absolutely no one. My significance has increased." Guy Kawasaki, a social influencer, wrote a book called Enchantment. He said that we have to remember three things. First, to be enchanting, you need confidence built from a portfolio of concrete experiences. 91% of Filipinos agree that it's better to live a life filled with great experiences than titles and material possessions. Diplomas are being eclipsed by experiences. Experience, therefore, is the new intelligence. Second, to be enchanting needs a great sense of humor. Entertainment partnered with education is best. Why? Funny is the new sexy. Finally, to be enchanting needs passion. The drive to help attracts Gen Z. They gravitate towards those with passion. Fire is the new hotness. Are you enchanting? Once again, it's Father J-Boy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.